What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Sanjit back at it with another video. Today, we are breaking down the tape of the Raiders defensive end, Tyree Wilson, because this guy was an absolute monster yesterday against the New Orleans Saints. And we're starting to see this guy flash a little bit. We're starting to see this guy actually put it together where things are actually looking good for the Raiders. Now, will he ever live up to being the number 7 overall pick? Will he ever live up to being taken before Darnell Wright and Jalen Carter? Maybe not. But the guy can still become a really, really good football player. And he could be an absolute disruptive force. And I think in this video, you guys will kind of see that come together. Now, one of the things you're going to see with Tyree Wilson is he's a very good run defender. If you're trying to reach block him the way the New Orleans Saints are trying to do on this one, you're going to get a zone run towards the left. Foster Moreau has a reach block on Tyree, who's already shaded to the inside. He's not going to be able to get there. Right? Tyree Wilson's going to just go right through that. He's going to hold this block. And he's essentially going to get in there to make the play. This is a really good job by Tyree Wilson to not allow that reach block to happen right there. Keep in mind, Tyree Wilson's on the backside. So as soon as the running back on the front side does not find a gap, this running back's going to cut it back to that backside where Tyree Wilson has to be able to get to. And in this instance, Wilson's going to do a pretty good job being able to get there. He's going to get the hands in there and bring the running back down. That's a really, really good job right there by Tyree Wilson. Keep in mind, this play does come back because of a holding call. But Wilson made a ton of plays against the run. Now here's another one where he's basically going to do the same exact thing, but this time he's not shaded so far to the inside. He's actually slightly shaded to the outside of the tight end here. But once again, he's going to do a really good job just beating the reach block. Again, same exact situation where it's a zone run towards the left. The number 83 here, the tight end has to get to the inside of Tyree, and he does a pretty good job initially, right? You can see that the helmet placement is to the inside, but Wilson does a great job with that frame, and he's going to do a great job with the arm length. Right? I mean, look at how Tyree's able to defeat the tight end, keep the tight end from grabbing into the chest plate, extends out, uses that large frame, and then he's going to be able to kind of get in there. He's going to blow this one up as well. Just a really good job by Tyree Wilson. Against the run specifically, this guy has been an absolute force, right? We can go back to when the Raiders took Clelin Ferrell. You know, Clelin Ferrell, although he was not great as a pass rusher, still was a really, really good run defender, right? At the point of attack, when guys were trying to move this guy, when guys were trying to hook him or do those things, they were not able to. Now, Clelin, Tyree Wilson are different type of players, right? Clelin Ferrell didn't have the type of arm length that Tyree has. Clelin also, I don't think, was as strong as Tyree. I think Tyree's probably a little bit more athletic. But in that same manner, right, both guys are really good run defenders. And you take this play here as an example where the offense is going to run split zone, right? So there's a couple different things that the left tackle can do on this one. You can reach Tyree Wilson if you're able to get to the inside and potentially wall him off. Now, if Tyree wants to stay on the inside, then you want to just wash him downwards, right? You want to try to create as much movement down the line of scrimmage as possible. The reason why is because for this running back, if the gap is not available there, you can potentially cut it into one of these gaps. Now, the split zone concept puts this tight end into a wham block situation where he's going to cut block the backside defensive end, or in this instance, it's the backside linebacker. And this guy's responsibility is, if you can't reach him, move him as far down the line of scrimmage as you can. Because where Tyree Wilson ultimately is relative to the linebacker is the type of lane that the running back will have as a cutback option. There's the very basics of being able to run zone, and you're going to see Tyree do a really good job where the left tackle Fuaga here not only doesn't move Tyree all that much, but more than that, Tyree's going to be able to hold the gap, and he's going to be able to extend this. Now, keep in mind, Tyree Wilson's also slanting to the inside, so Tyree is also kind of going towards that same side, but within this rep, Tyree's going to do a great job with the right hand, and I know it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but Tyree's going to be able to, with the right hand, create that separation right there. That's a really, really good job by Tyree Wilson to be able to create that separation, because when you create that separation, you essentially are able to wrap up the running back. You're able to hold more ground as well, so Tyree does a great job on this one. Also give some credit to Robert Splain for reading this one out, recognizing it's a split zone, and that the backside cutback is most likely to the running back's in a hit. And of course, Robert Splain standing right there in the gap. Just a really good job by both Splain and Tyree. But I also want to talk a little bit about Tyree Wilson's ability as a pass rusher. Now, Tyree Wilson is not Maxx Crosby, right? We know for a fact when it comes to Tyree Wilson's ability in pass rushing, he is mostly going to go to that bull rush move. And that's exactly what he did against the Saints pretty much, on every single one of these different plays. And again, we'll get into it. We'll get into some of what Tyree Wilson does. I mentioned that I think Tyree's more athletic than Clelin Ferrell. Here's a great example of showing off that athleticism a little bit. Some people think it's super easy for a defensive lineman like Tyree Wilson, who's 275 plus pounds, 6'5 plus, to be able to change direction, right? Be able to go straight or slant towards the right, be able to bend and do those type of things at that size that Tyree Wilson has. That's a hard thing to do, right? And Wilson does do a pretty good job on this one to be able to change direction. And what I mean by that is he's going to start up field first. You're going to see that he's going to get double teamed here by number 11, as well as 70. Both guys kind of have Tyree. And then Tyree's going to change direction, and he's going to slant towards the inside. All right, and this is a design defensive line game. Just a good job by the two guys to be able to make this work. And with Tyree Wilson, as he hits this inside, you're also going to see him rip through this. All right, with the left arm, he's going to rip through that guard there. It's a pretty good guard. And that rip move right there is a power-based move, but Tyree Wilson has that power, right? So he's able to make sure this guard is not able to pass off the D tackle and then come back around to him and then ultimately get to him, right? It's a pretty good job by the guard to pass off the D tackle to Trevor Penning. You're going to see the guard's going to try to get to Tyree Wilson. The left hand ends up landing into the chest, but Tyree's going to rip, and that rip move's going to break that contact. Again, power-based move. Tyree Wilson can definitely do it, right? Rip moves is one of those things Tyree does a good job at. Another thing Tyree Wilson does a really good job at is going to be the bull rush. And we saw him utilize power-based moves multiple times against Trevor Penning. Bull rush on one play, long arm on another. This one's going to be the long arm, and it just works well because of the fact that this guy's rangy, right? He has that length to be able to get into some of these offensive tackles. And on this one here, look at him just straight up push back Trevor Penning with that right arm. Left hand, he's going to end up forking up the right arm of Trevor Penning. And then look at him just push this guy right back into the quarterback. That's a really good job to be able to force the quarterback off his spot. Now, of course, it's not a sack, but it's a positive play in the fact that the quarterback's trying to go through his reads, right? Now, here's another one where Tyree Wilson's going to once again utilize power. This time it's going to go to a straight bull rush, and he's going to end up taking Trevor Penning right back into the quarterback. Once again, generating pressure, forcing the quarterback off his spot. And of course, on this one, the Raiders going to be able to force a fumble, right? Clayvon Chason's going to be able to speed rush and get past the left tackle. And with that speed rush, the quarterback really just doesn't see it coming. But again, just a really good play once again by Tyree Wilson. And I want you guys to actually watch Clayvon Chason on this one. So this is something Tyree Wilson has to develop a little bit. Chason's going to end up taking on this left tackle, and he's going to give him a double hand swipe. You guys see that both hands are going to load up. He's going to swipe that offensive tackle's hands, and it lands perfectly as well, right? As soon as the offensive tackle's coming to make contact with Chason, he's going to swipe those hands away. And with that, he's going to be able to hit the corner. That's a winning route right there by Chason, but that's a speed-based move, right? He times it perfectly with the speed rush. The hands land perfectly. This is what Tyree Wilson has to just kind of continue to develop into. Now, he might not ever be able to do exactly what Chason does on that one, where you kind of jump outside, you load it up, you punch with both hands. But Tyree Wilson just needs to continue to develop different pass rush techniques, right? He goes to the rip move, the long arm, the bull rush. That's all he kind of really does at this point. But regardless of that, Tyree Wilson is definitely flashing, right? You're seeing him generating pressure. You're seeing him move guys like Trevor Penning. Now, truth be told, Trevor Penning's not that good of an offensive tackle, right? Especially if you're going to put him in a true five-man protection situation. And I'm not surprised to see Tyree Wilson dominate Penning, but we've also seen Tyree Wilson dominate some other guys. He had a good game over the past couple of weeks. The Chiefs, he had a good game last week as well, right? Where this guy's actually making plays. And this is another move that Tyree does. As I said, he goes to the rip move a lot. Now, it's interesting because he's almost utilizing a ghost move where he wants Trevor Penning to throw some sort of move. He's going to put the right hand up, but you can tell he's not fully engaging with the right hand. And Trevor Penning's going to snatch down that hand. And with that, Wilson's also going to end up hitting the rip move with the right arm. And it's a power-based move once again, and that's going to allow him to get home. I believe that's Adam Butler as well. Both guys kind of get there at the same time. This is also generated partly because of Trayvon Merriweather, right? Some people talk about Trayvon Merriweather and say he's not a good football player. I'm telling you guys, if you guys hear that opinion by certain guys, just know those people don't know football. Right? Trayvon Merriweather's a really, really good football player. He's one of the top 10 safeties in the NFL. And the thing with safeties is it's very hard to know who's, the 5 best safeties versus the 5 worst safeties. It's hard. No one really knows, right? And the reason why is because cornerbacks, safeties, linebackers are so much based off of scheme, Right, Patrick Graham can take Trayvon Merriweather and make him one of the best safeties in the NFL, while he takes another guy who might have had success in a whole different scheme, and he's not able to have success with those guys. To me, Trayvon Merriweather's legit. Now, just talking about this play here specifically, this is a great job hitting the backside of number 74. You know, defensive linemen in the NFL don't even know how to properly run games. You got the Raiders safety doing a great job hitting the backside, because when you do that right there, right, let me just back this up here really quickly to show you guys something. So the slide's going to be to the right. So the center's going to slide here to Splain. Right guard has the D tackle there. Penning has Tyree Wilson there. And essentially what they're going to do is left guard takes the D tackle, left tackle takes the D end, and they're going to let Trayvon Merriweather go free, but that's for the running back to ultimately come and take. So what ends up happening on this play is when you get a game between the D tackle and Trayvon Merriweather, what needs to happen within this play is the running back needs to come in here and he needs to take the defensive tackle who's going to come around Trayvon Merriweather, right? So they meet there. And then with that, the guard has to pick up Trayvon Merriweather, right? That's going to be the switch that has to happen on the game. But what happens is because Trayvon Merriweather attacks the backside of number 74, there's no way to recover from this. There's no way for 74 to get to Trayvon Merriweather. So the running back has to make a choice. You can take the D tackle, who is now your responsibility, or you can take Trayvon Merriweather, right? Who ends up taking a really good angle on number 74, which ultimately allows the D tackle to go free, right? Because the running back takes Trayvon Merriweather. That's a really good defensive line game, right? That right there is coaching. For anybody that doesn't know, that's how you coach it up right there. Right, you want to make sure that when you're bringing these type of pressures, it's a 5-man protection. You know every single guy has to take another guy. You bring 5, you run that game. If the left guard doesn't process it, if you get to the backside, you're not going to be able to block it. That's just a really, really good job right there by the guys up front. Really good job by Patrick Graham to be able to design it and coach his guys up properly. And let's just get back to Tyree Wilson. There's just 2 plays left that I kind of want to analyze. You know, Tyree Wilson is powerful as hell, right? And everybody knows he's strong, he's physical. Everybody knows that this is the type of guy that you're not going to be able to really anchor down against, especially if he has a long run with the way he ultimately does on this one. Think about this. Tyree Wilson is like way, way out there in that wide 9, right? I don't even know if this is a wide 9, might be further than that, but he's out there in the wide 9, so he has that long runway. Before he's going to make contact with Trevor Penning, look at all those steps Tyree Wilson gets to get in there. So with that, he's going to just go to a straight power-based move, and you're not stopping Tyree Wilson. If he's coming with 7-8 steps before he hits you, and he's going to bull rush you, there's no tackle in the NFL that can stop Tyree Wilson. He's too strong. He's too powerful. And this is something the Raiders got to continue to do with Tyree, right? Let him play out as like a true edge where he's lined up super far outside, and let him collapse the pocket. Because this play right here, where the quarterback actually ends up getting hit by the tackle, this is going to make that quarterback think on the very next play that, hey, on this one, I threw it quickly to the tight end, but on the next one, if I don't get the ball out quickly, am I going to end up getting sacked because I just took a pretty big hit by my offensive tackle? And I know it's not perfect, right? Tyree Wilson is not the perfect player for the Raiders at this point, but he is developing. He is generating a little bit of pressure. And I think for the Raiders, that's all you can ask for. When I watched Tyree last year, I was pretty certain this guy's not going to be a good player. I think this guy's going to end up busting out. And, for being the 7th overall pick, you might still say he's going to end up busting out, right? But he's showing flashes. And I think, in college, what he showed was he dominated players. He was able to blow things up and be disruptive. And for the Raiders, he's kind of showing that once again as well, right? Where he's being disruptive. Now, another thing to note, Tyree Wilson hasn't played a lot of football, right? He was hurt all of last offseason. He came in and he played, but he was limited last year because of the injury. He basically had one offseason, and truth be told, he's basically a rookie this year, right? Considering that he actually was able to have a true offseason where he actually got to play in camp. To me, Tyree Wilson will get better and better and better. And I think in year 3, we're going to see a huge step forward. And then I think even more than that, in year 4, we're going to see this guy truly, truly break out. So we'll see if that actually ends up happening. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time with another video.